Good day, everyone. I am Kayleen Aliana Mendoza, and together with Miss Claire Marie Mayuga and Michelle Ogatis, we'll be presenting our research paper in the course Ecology and Fieldwork entitled Environmental Footprints of Portalet Program, a Historical and Contemporary Perception Through Community Narratives. Let us now start off with the abstract of the study. We have here the keywords public sanitation, MMDA pink urinals, urban hygiene, and waste management. The proponents gathered historical and contemporary perceptions of the MMDA pink urinals. The study is in a qualitative approach with thematic analysis used. So the proponents also created or used a semi-structured interview in collecting their data, which concluded that the Portalet program reduced public urination and provided convenience for those who got to use it and those who are still using it. Though there are also informations in a negative connotation, which mentioned that there were poor maintenance, sanitation issues, and lack of government oversights. This led to the recommendations and suggestions of prioritizing the importance of sustainability, inclusivity, and hygiene when it comes to this type of projects and programs.
This study emerged from the need to better understand the impact of past urban sanitation initiative, specifically the MMDA's Pink Urinal program in Metro Manila. These units, commonly seen in public areas during the early 2000s, were implemented as quick sanitation solution. However, over time, their condition, usage, and perception have changed significantly. And the main objectives of this research are threefold. First, to explore the environmental implication of the portalet both during their active operation and following their discontinuation. Second, to understand how communities perceive these urinals both when they were first introduced and in the present day. And lastly, to investigate the observable impact of the portalet installation on sanitation and environmental conditions in Metro Manila communities. This study is significant for several reasons. It highlighted the environmental impact of once visible public sanitation project and more importantly offers community-based insight drawn from lived experiences. And by doing so, it addresses a noticeable gap in local research on the relationship between urban sanitation and ecological outcomes. We also hope this study contributes to future data-informed and sustainable urban planning and that it encourages policymakers to reflect on past programs when designing future ones. And to address these goals, we were guided by the following statement of the problem. First, what were the challenges and issues faced by the Portalet program during its implementation? Next, what is the current status and distribution of the portalets in Metro Manila? And lastly, what is the condition of the area surrounding the existing portalets in terms of sanitation and environmental quality? For our methodology, we employed a qualitative approach allowing us to capture narrative-based perspective from the community. We used purposive sampling to select individuals who have either experienced or witnessed the MMDA pink urinals or the portalet. In total, we interviewed 10 community members and 3 MMDA personnel using a semi-structured interview guide. Before conducting interviews, we followed standard ethical procedures including informed consent and participant briefing. And the interview were transcribed and analyzed using thematic coding which allows us to extract key patterns and recurring insights. We then synthesized this into merged themes that reflects the environmental footprints of the Portalet program across different time frames.
As per our resultant discussions, previous literature revealed that the MMDA pink urinals were first introduced in 2002 by Chair Bayani Fernando, aiming to reduce random urination of people in Marikina and improve health and sanitation. However, during the implementation, the project faced branching issues in sanitation, health, maintenance, budget mismanagement, security, and gender inequity. In fact, the Commission audit reported that way back in July 2012, the initiated project cost 12.8 million pesos, but out of 1,040 urinals, only 477 were installed and remaining were left uninstalled until it deteriorated. Despite this, the study showed that there are perceived advantages to the pink urinals, especially among commuters and drivers. The presence of pink urinals provided commuters with free access to designated urinal areas, offering them a place to relieve themselves when needed. A few respondents also noted that during the implementation, street odor caused by public urination was reduced as unregulated urination across various public spaces has been curbed. It shows that the objective of the MMDA Pink Urinals project to reduce unregulated urination has also been achieved. But why was the project discontinued? According to respondents, the urinals were poor maintained and often emits odor since the project was not regularly cleaned nor have proper waste disposal. Respondents noted that most of the urinals do not have water source, worsening the disposal and maintenance of the project. This implies that after the installation of the public urinals in selected locations throughout Metro Manila, the project has not been properly regulated or given sufficient attention despite numerous suggestions and complaints. Other concerns regarding the pink urinals include issues of safety and privacy. The design of the urinals was intended solely for male use and is not gender inclusive, particularly with regards to the needs for women rather. Moreover, respondents reported cases of misuse, including instances where the urinals were used for defecation, smoking, and other inappropriate activities. The installation of urinals also has environmental implications. On the positive side, they contributed to reduce urination and mold in public areas, improve drainage in some locations, and better odor control, particularly when cleaned regularly. When properly maintained, the urinals remain clean and usable, supporting good hygiene standards. Additionally, the project demonstrated good initial sustainability. However, in the absence of regular maintenance, several environmental concerns were reported. These include rust and stains from poor upkeep, the direct flow of urine onto the ground, foul odors, the proliferation of disease causing microbes, accumulation of waste residues, and overall unsanitary public conditions. These issues highlight the need for consistent sanitation practices and infrastructure support to ensure long term environmental benefits. Currently, the urinals can still be seen in various parts of Marikina City, including Baytree, Amang Rodriguez, River Park, Fortune, Barangka, Malanday, Santo Niño Paliparan, San Roque, Mabini, and Tumana. According to respondents, urinals were previously also spotted in areas such as Mandaluyong, Shaw Boulevard, Cubao, North Avenue, and Santa Ana, Marikina. Most of these urinals are located near transport terminals, river parks, and pedestrian walkways. Respondent noted that the existing urinals are still being used for urination purposes. However, some have been repurposed or misused as smoking area sites for defecation or as general waste disposal spot. Despite these issues, the study revealed that all respondents expressed a desire for the project to be revived, emphasizing the continued need for accessible and sanitary public urinals. However, several modifications were suggested, including the additional of units for female users, improvement in sanitation, and enhancement to the overall design.
Now, for the conclusion, the proponents lead to the conclusion that the program was highly regarded for its accessibility and convenience. But on the other hand, there are still negative environmental impacts that led to its downfall and gradually weakened the public support. Adding to that, the current improvements that are visible for the existing units are initiated and sustained by the people of the community themselves. Overall, the findings of the study highlighted that the importance of sanitation maintenance, community comments, and environmental considerations should be included always in implementing sanitation infrastructure projects and programs. Now, for the recommendation, the proponents led to the suggestion that to improve the quality of the data that can be gathered for this kind of study, the original archival records of the program shall be taken into account for a much more reliable and valid data. Also, the suggestions of the respondents, such as the analyzation of the proponents, led to the study being a reference for future public sanitation development projects because the data of the paper give suggestions and public feedback for this kind of projects and programs. Overall, that is the end of our presentation. I hope that this research and study can contribute to a much more clean, hygienic, and safe community. Thank you very much.